And so in machine learning, a vector is just an array of elements, which we call an array. They call it vectors in machine learning because the exact same mathematics that they use in physics with vectors, something with direction and magnitude, the same mathematics works when you're dealing with arrays of values. So they call them vectors. And what we're basically doing is taking the meaning of information and turning it into an array of numbers and using that to search. And frankly, it's quite a genius system. So if you take the word cat, what a vector system would do is it'll turn that word cat into a whole series of numbers. It could be a few hundred different numbers. And each number, this is a bit of an analogy, so it doesn't fully work like this, but one might refer to the tense of the word and whether it's a noun or a verb, or what context is it in, what's the subject, is it capitalized, all these things that generate meaning. And it basically creates this vector. Now, you can visualize it in 2 dimensions. So it kind of plots it somewhat like that. It's a particular point in space. Now, it's not a 2-dimensional point, but this is how we potentially look at it. So if you were then to take the word dog, turn that into a vector, then plot that in that same space, there's a distance. So what we're looking at here is the similarity between them. Now, where it becomes interesting, so we add something else in, such as kitten. Now, kitten has semantic meaning much closer to cat than it does to dog. And while this is in 2 dimensions, this is what is happening, is that we can see that kitten has closer meaning to cat. So say if your organisation has articles about cats and articles about dogs only, if your user was to come in and write, what nutrition do I give my kitten, then the system will automatically know that I need to retrieve the documentation around cat. So it's doing its search based on meaning, and this is kind of like a plot of meaning in a space. Now, if you had a look at another plot where you had maybe things are great in one side and then things are not so great, you can take a phrase like RubyConf 2024. It'll split out each word. Now, the genius of it is you can take actually a whole page of text, turn it into an array or a vector, and that vector has meaning related to that entire text. So in this case, it's just a small phrase. This is what a final full vector would look like. Now, there's actually usually like 1,500 of these points, but there's a whole mathematical process that combines the words. Then it would obviously put RubyConf 2024 as similar to things that are great. Now, on the other hand, if you were to take something like JavaConf 2024, now I trained a model on this. I had nothing to do with this. Let's show what this. So this is a locally run model running on my laptop. I mean, it's a video of, but so I put in which conference should I attend in 2024? So the model's running locally. The conference you should attend in 2024 is RubyConf. Great, correct. Which conference should I avoid? Hey, it's the AI. It's like, what can I say? No, look, I'm being facetious. I have no problem with Java at all. I learned it at university. But the idea is that's kind of how it works. Now, in terms of the whole process, I think I'm going to skip through this because I am a bit crunched on time here, and I've got a demo which may or may not work because it is a live demo, but I do have a recording of it if it fails, and I think I want to show that because it's kind of a little cool tool here. What I will show is that, generally speaking, this is more what a vector database looks like. So when you create these vectors, you store them in a specialized database called a vector database, which is optimized for doing these searches, for finding those vectors which have the closest similarity. And you'll see here that on the right-hand side, you've got the blue, which is science fiction. So this is all books. On the left-hand side, you've got the green, which is non-fiction. And you can see they're clustering. So things that have similar meaning are clustering. And so there's certain algorithms to find. If I'm searching for, I want to find a book similar to Dune, which is under science fiction, it's going to find a book in that cluster as opposed to the non-fiction cluster. This is all great, but that's okay. But the thing is, AI is just a prompt, knowledge retrieval, and API call away.